Hey, hey, what's going on? Welcome back to our next session. The next session is going to be Grow-mances, and it is presented by Juliet Brown as well as Samantha Hawkins. Take it away, my friends.
Hey everybody, I'm so excited to be here. I'm Juliet and this is my best friend Samantha. We're going to talk today about gromances and how they affect our lives. So basically, a gromance is a relationship or a friendship in which it moves you forward in a positive direction. Just a little bit about me. I've been a dispatcher since 2014. Actually, this week is my 10-year anniversary of dispatching my first call ever. Um, I know, super exciting. I've had roles as a CTO, training coordinator, supervisor, and community outreach. I currently run the quality assurance department for Motivations, as well as do some other fun training stuff with Samantha uh, through Motivations. I have a dog and two kittens, and I enable Samantha's sour gummy worm addiction just a little bit.
Very true. Very true. And I am Sam Hawkins, Gypsy Dispatcher. 9.5 years in public safety. 911 training professional and a team lead at Motivations. Let it be known, first of all, Jules followed me to Motivations, but whoever said that you shouldn't work with your best friend, nah. It's been absolutely incredible and kind of just part of our Grow-mance story, which we'll be diving into further. And in addition to training, which is like my thing, I am the creator of the Gold Line Truth blog, and I am sort of a recovering sour gummy worms addict. I like to say that I'm not easy to be bribed. However, if I were to ever be bribed, sour gummy worms would be the way. But I am kind of a recovering one. I did relapse. I relapse every week, truth be told, and I did relapse a couple of days ago. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And yeah,
Samantha's sour gummy worm addiction lives another day.
yeah, that's a whole thing for another day. We're not gonna get into that. This is a judgment-free zone, by the way. Another great building block when it comes to a great romance. Let's get into it.
For sure. So Sam and I actually met because of Dare to Be Great 4. In 2022, Ricardo had asked me to present for Dare to Be Great 4, and it was going to be one of my first time presenting ever. And Sam was actually a keynote, I believe, that year, right?
Yeah. Yes, I was. Yes, I
He
was.
was. So we started to get tagged in the same social media that Ricardo was promoting, which led to us following each other on social media.
Stalking each
And
other.
yeah, briefly stalking each other. I was fangirling her. She was fangirling me, like the whole nine. Then Sam actually like low-key kind of slid into my DMs as like a friendship sort of way.
Truly, yes. And I'm glad that I just hope you never forget that. I did make the first move as a friend, and I did.
Yeah.
Slid into the
She
DMs
actually
there.
she actually printed out our first conversation and framed it and sent it to me in the mail. It's on my shelf over on the other side of my living room right now.
I'm really proud of that gift, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
that was a
funny,
really good
I
gift.
will say, I will say on my end, kind of one of the things that kind of drew me to Juliet was I felt like we had like a similar story of like our kind of like breaking out in the world of 911. We both had like been in it for years, and for me, my breakout was through a scholarship. It was the Within the Trenches Continuing Education Scholarship that I won in 2020. And it was like from then, that was like my first time, like feels like everything from then on, just all the doors that was open. And it was like, here was this chick and she won a scholarship. And I just saw, it was like, the similarity, and like all of a sudden I'm seeing Juliette Brown's name all over the place. So
Yeah. So in 2022, I won the I'm a Wonder Woman fireworks scholarship. And a few months later, actually, at Nina, which is that first picture, is us at Nina, Kentucky together. Samantha here actually won I'm a Wonder Woman of the Year. So it was a really cool moment for both of us. Like me, the scholarship recipient, her, the I'm a Wonder Woman of the Year. Here we are thrown together after stalking each other on social media for months.
yes. Absolutely. Yep.
So yeah, basically we met in person there, and I don't think we've left each other's hips since this first picture.
No. So that's our meeting story of pretty much, and it's crazy to think like how, Grow-mances can start any place, anywhere, and it's really important to note that Grow-mance can be with someone that you haven't known your whole life. Now, you always hear the things about childhood best friends, and we may have that childhood best friend, that person that you grew up with, but sometimes your strongest relationships and friendships can come late in life. You just can't you can't think that, well, it has to be a childhood friend. It could be, or it could be someone that comes later on, down the line professionally.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing with Sam and I is I'm in Massachusetts. She's most of the time in Georgia, but who knows with her traveling dispatch. So when we first met, we were able to candidly promote like each other and give each other advice without necessarily directly being involved in each other's lives, which played a huge part in this of kind of just like getting that candid, honest, open advice with, and there's absolutely zero arterial motive because we aren't in the same circles at all.
Yes. Yep. Exactly right.
All right. So
by the way, I would point out that Juliette coined that term, and the kind of friendship we have every so often. I say every so often, but it's a lot. It's real often. Jules will like reach out and be like, Sam, what do you think about that? Or Sam, I got an idea. I don't know which way that can go, because it can go anyway. When Jules says I have an idea, it could be like, let's go to Alaska to, in this case, hey, how about this really great idea I have for a presentation we should do together. And it was one of those days where she was like, damn, I got an idea. And this term is the term that she broke out. So yeah, what is the definition of a Grow-mance, girl?
So a Grow-mance is like a bromance, but it's way cooler. Basically, there are two friends that work together, like in life, not necessarily work together in the same job, even though I did stalk Sam to our current jobs.
Yeah.
But they work together in life, and they really are each other's cheerleaders and promote each other and just do that positive move forward. I feel like whenever I am in life and I'm like struggling to move forward or figure out what my next step is, out of nowhere, Sam comes out of left field and she's like, I have this blog that you should write. I say to Sam, like, I have this presentation we should do. And we just kind of like build off each other and support each other and really work together to help move each other forward. But
Absolutely.
It does require a lot of work, which is why Samantha here is working while I'm driving.
Yes, true story there. That is a picture of one of our like projects where we were partnering on for the company we worked for, Motivations. And we're in Florida and she's like driving, like I'm doing work, like we're a team. And that's to me one of the biggest building blocks when it comes to a Grow-mance is it is a partnership. It truly is. And like we have here on the slide, there's 3 things where you start at. So I'll start with the first one, and then and Jews, I know you'll take the next one, but transparent dialogue is big. Communication, the way we talk about it, the same thing, like communication in the communication center, communication in relationships, period. The thing about a Grow-mance that's so crazy is that it's friendship, but to me, it's like that next level, right? It's like the surface is the friends. We have friends and stuff like that, but then it's that next level. And communication, the same way it's so key in any kind of relationship, working relationship, personal relationship, you can't have a Grow-mance with that person who is your partner, like your partner in work or your partner in growth and success, without regular communication. That doesn't have to look like talking to each other every day, although we do have a 700-day snap streak, which is like kind of
701, I believe, actually.
Oh, that's right. 701. You're right. You're right. You're right. But it does mean regular communication where we are addressing things. There's got to be trust there, and that, just as Jews, you mentioned, like, she can come to me about something, I can come to her. There's times where I have, just an example that just popped in my head. I remember one time I literally went to her and I was like, Jews, set me straight here if I'm wrong. And it was someone that we know mutually. And I was like, do you feel this way about them? Because I was feeling this way recently. She knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say a name. And she literally just set me straight and was like, you're looking at it from the wrong angle, and was like, boom, boom, boom. And then afterwards, I was like, you're so right. She didn't judge me. She didn't look at me like, Sam, where'd that come from? That came out of left field. I just was able to go to her and communicate my thoughts, and she was able to be like, yeah, but look at it from this angle. Dialogue is so important, and so is active listening. Go ahead, Jules.
Yes, so active listening is super important. I know it's a term that kind of gets drilled into our heads as dispatchers. I feel like every call we take, they're like, you must be active listening. But in a friendship level, it does kind of show up differently, and you can communicate slightly differently with active listening. With 911 calls and in the professional field, when you struggle to remember something, you have to come up with some fancy way to be like, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Or can you say that again? Can you confirm? Different things like that. Whereas with our friendship, especially because we're both a little bit ADHD, probably a little more than a little bit, but that's for a different day. And I can literally just be like, Sam, I'm sorry, I forgot to listen. Can you say that again? And she laughs and I laugh, and we have that conversation again, or she says that last part again, because we can't always just expect our friends to be 100% on all the time when we communicate. And if there is something that's important missed, being able to like jokingly but honestly circle back to it to ensure that we know where the other person's coming from and we are actively acknowledging and listening to the entire story is super important.
Absolutely. And then feedback, and Juliet, I'm sure you can add more. Only thing, with me when it comes to feedback obviously on our friendship, on our Grow-mance, in that sometimes, yes, as friends, you're familiar with this person, this person. It doesn't mean that you can't, every so often, you may say something that maybe you went a little far, maybe you crossed a boundary or something. So having that trust in a relationship, or in that friendship, in that Grow-mance, where that person, Juliet could be like, oh, Sam, that's a little, or same thing, like, I know where you're coming from, girl, and I know you didn't mean it, but, it wasn't ill intent there, but that kind of cut a little too close, right? Being able to go back and forth and provide that feedback. But to me, it's not just feedback on our friendship, it's feedback even on our life adventures. So if I'm telling Juliet about something, and I could be sharing something about, hey, Juliet, this, knowing that she can give me feedback, sometimes it could be like, Sam, do you really think you got the bandwidth to add that to your plate? And the fact that I know where she's coming from, that anyone else could have just heard me out and just been like, I'll just sit here and just say yes. Or, oh, great, you're gonna do this too. But she can come at it and be like, now, Sam, did you just take this on your plate? Now you want to take that on your plate? Feedback as well, because what do we say about feedback in the chain of communication, right? It's that acknowledgement of, I heard you, I'm giving something back. I heard you, and everything, that back and forth. So feedback even on each other's life adventures, that I'm not going to just sit, if Juliet tells me something, I'm not going to just sit back and be like, oh, okay, cool. But even feedback of, okay, all right, so how are you going to do this? How do you think how are you going to fit this in? You're going to fit this in your schedule? Okay, let's just want to make sure. So that's not going to like take away from your rest time, right? That's not going to be too much on you. Feedback that shows that you actually care. Constructive feedback, not stuff that, you can't change, but stuff you can change, or stuff that they have control of. That is also, to me, a big part of Grow-mance.
And also with feedback, like, you're not necessarily going to always agree with the feedback that you're getting. Yes. I mean, usually I find when I don't agree with Samantha's feedback, I regret it in the long run. I just think of my dating life, for example.
I'm gonna timestamp that. I'm gonna timestamp that. Y'all timestamp it. What she just said. Okay. Go on. No.
Although, to be fair, you've had some doozies too there, Samantha.
Okay, yeah, that's true. It's true. There's definitely been some moments where she could have went back and was like, well, I kind of told you so, but she didn't. She gave me feedback. Maybe I didn't listen. And afterwards, I'm like, okay, yeah, I see. It was for my benefit.
But also, like, with not agreeing, that doesn't mean that we can't continue to move forward on the friendship. Yes. We're just at an impasse on this one thing, and for the time being, we look past that and look towards all the other great things, and then usually it circles back, and we figure it out from there.
It's true. Yep. Yeah. Alignment. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. And alignment it doesn't mean that we're doing the exact same things. I mentioned how in the beginning, kind of the thing that drew me to Jews, other than the fact that we were getting tagged like on Instagram and every like Dare to Be Great 4 posts, and I'm like, who's this chick? And she say me. But it was the similarity of like, she had won the scholarship, I had won a scholarship, and that there's an alignment in our purpose and in our values. Now, here's the thing. Juliet comes from a background in 911, more so aligned with leadership. A supervisor, and even now, even with the company that we both work for, she manages the division of QA. I've been on the other hand, and Juliet also's training is her thing as well, but training is my jam. That is my thing, more so than management, more so than leadership. So the fact that it doesn't mean like we're doing the same thing, but there is an alignment in our values and our purpose. If you ask us our why we continue to impact 911 in the way that we impact 911, it's a pretty similar thing. We both care about helping people. I'm not going to say that we couldn't be friends, we couldn't be friends, but if Juliet's why was just, I'm just here for a paycheck, and whereas I'm over here like getting all animated, I'm like, because I want to help people and I want to impact people. Could we be friends? Yes. But would we have a Grow-mance? Nah, we wouldn't. And so the fact that we support each other and support each other's why and everything is because there is that underlying foundation of similarity in our values. We care about people. We care about this industry. we care about making it better for the next generations. And from that is born this kind of mutual respect of each other.
I also think that it works really well with us because like you said, my main thing is leadership, but training's like my backup thing, like my secondary thing. And for you, your main thing is training, but whether you like it or not, you're a natural born leader. So we kind of just like mesh together really well in that I'm able to support her main goals and she's able to support my main goals, and it works. I like how here it talks about how opposites attract doesn't always work in real life. I think that's very important. Like Sam was saying with the paycheck thing, like if you to the core have different reasons for being at your job or for doing what you do, whatever it may be, then you're not going to have that foundation. And also, being respectful of careers and accomplishments is so important. For like sometimes, not gonna lie, Sam and I, we put in for the same conferences all of the time. Like all the time, we put in for the same conferences, but we don't always get accepted. Or sometimes one of us gets accepted and the other one doesn't. And the important thing is the one that doesn't is still showing up and is still sitting in the front row. And that's what matters, is that when you are in that almost friendly competition, no matter who wins, you're respectful of it, you acknowledge it, you honestly are happy for them, and you really just want to also see them grow as a person. Because it's going to be your turn at some point, but it's their turn right now.
That's big. And I want to touch on again with the opposites attract, because that's a trope that is great for movies and it's great for books. And sometimes, yes, that opposite, that odd couple and stuff. When it comes to a great romance that just works, it's the fact that, again, not everything in our life lines up. We didn't have to have the same childhood. We didn't have to have the same upbringing. But our Grow-mance makes sense. We have gotten, I will say, just in the time since Juliet and I have been friends, we have gotten so many people who has like their assessment of us, seeing the two of us, like, man, you guys are so close. Man, you guys are such good friends. Man, you guys work together so well and everything. And even what we do together for our company, managing like this, the enable training division with motivations and being able to take that to 911 centers, like in the feedback we have gotten, in addition to, they know their stuff and the technical stuff, it's been the two of them work so well together that it worked out well, us being, partners in that. That's the reality of it. We're not an odd couple. It makes sense, our Grow-mance. And the best Grow-mances is that for an outsider looking in, they will say, oh, this is absolutely, again, that trope of, the real wild person, and then you've got the excellent for movies. But in real life, when it comes to the alignment professionally, the alignment personally, anyone outsider looking in says, hey, this is a friendship that just makes sense because we align in our values. And from that, we can grow. So if any kind of hurdles that we might, meet or something, it's not values wise. It might be a difference of this. It might be a difference of that. It might be, hey, a difference of perspectives, but it's not to do with our values. And it's not to do even with our mission, because again, that at the foundation is pretty much the same.
For sure. I would like to circle back though on the fact that you said that we're not an odd couple, because we are very odd, but
okay. We make a good couple of odd friends. Absolutely. We're both odd.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Yes. Yes. All right.
That's a fact. That's true. Clarify that.
This picture, you guys.
Did not consent to that. the big head or anything. Let's just put that out there.
Okay. So quick story. That is me posing with a fat head of Samantha from the first picture we ever took together.
Yep.
This was in Nashville. Was Nashville last year? This year? Last year.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year.
Yep.
Sam made it to the big stage. She was on. She spoke at National AppGo, and me, being a supportive best friend, showed up to Nashville with this giant fat head of her.
Yeah.
Which she refused to let me bring into her presentation.
I wonder why.
Which I really wanted to, but I didn't want to fluster her or kind of like push her over the edge. So I wasn't really sure how she was going to take the fat head. So I made sure to show it to her before she spoke and asked her what she thought, because Sam can be a little bit reserved when she's not with me. No, I just didn't want to like embarrass her or push her over the edge, especially speaking on a national stage. And she very politely asked me not to bring it. So I didn't, but I did pose with it all throughout the Airbnb that we shared.
Yeah. Yes, she did.
So that is the fat head of Samantha. What'd you ever do with that fat head, by the way?
Yeah, I gave it to my mom. She like sleeps with it.
I love that.
She really does keep it next to her, and she like, especially when I'm on assignment and stuff. So it's got a proper place.
I love that.
So, but I like the slide, even with the big head and all, and actually each one of these we definitely want to tackle. I'll start with the first one of the no jealousy, and Juliet, you touched on that already. So there's something, and it's funny because coming in this presentation, you'll have a video we'll show you, but there's something Simon Sinek said. There's a video that just, I remember watching it, and I watched it sometime before we were getting this presentation together, and it just stuck with me. And he was talking about true friendship. And he said, if you think about the friends in your life, right? We always think about like your friends as the person that you call when you're having a bad day, your lowest day, your darkest day, the person that will, you can call and you can vent to and you can complain and they'll pick you up. And he said, and that is, yes, we all need those people in life, and that is an important part of friendship. But I told y'all, when we, in the beginning of this, how it's like the Grow-mance that we have is like friendship, but next level. And when he described this next thing, I thought that's a Grow-mance. He said, but if you were to count up in your life, the friends that you can call on when you're having a bad day to vent versus the friends you can call when you're having a great day. One of the best days of your life. You just got the promotion you wanted. That opportunity just came through. He said, I think a lot of people will realize there's more of the friends you can call on the vent who don't mind hearing about your bad day versus the friends that you can call on when you're having a good day. Because the thing is, you can't call on everyone, right? There's some people that if you call and you're like, hey, I just got that promotion, I just got that raise, I just got that, they're going to be like, oh, you're bragging about yourself. You're just bragging about yourself. You just, whatever. They're gonna feel jealous. But the best Grow-mances are the ones where these are people, these are your friends, these are the people in your corner that you can call on when you are having a great day and be like, let me share. I can call them at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday to say, let me tell you about this great opportunity that just came through for me. And it doesn't matter that maybe they haven't had any great opportunities come through for them in the past week or the past month. They're going to hear you out, and they're not going to be jealous. They're not going to think you're bragging. They're going to cheer you on and hype you up. And that is the kind of Grow-mance. That's one of those things that's a part of our friendship, is that we can call on each other. It's not just when we're low and it's like we need that, pick me up, and I'm feeling bad, and the person's like, oh yeah, I'll be a listening ear for you venting about your bad day. But we can call on each other when it's like, hey, that thing I told you I was going to ask about, or that I applied to, that conference, and there's no jealousy. Oh, you got in, I didn't get in. You heard something though, you heard back, and you're going to be speaking at the conference. Awesome. Oh, maybe I can't. I know we might have both got accepted to a conference, but suddenly I can't go, but you can go. Awesome. That is a big thing as a part of us supporting and celebrating each other's journey.
Yes. Awesome. Also with that, like when your friend does call you with some really great news, know that your turn is coming. I hate the concept of there are only so many seats at the table. In reality, the table is as long as you can make it, and everybody can have a seat at it. And if you work hard and you put in the work and you're a good, honest person, it will come to you. It may not feel like it, but it will come to you. I remember when all this good stuff started happening, mental health is important. I see a therapist every week. But when all this good stuff started happening, I said to my therapist, I was like, oh my God, like something is wrong. All this stuff is happening and it's good and I don't know what to do. Like something is wrong. And she was like, Julie, you've put in the work for so long. It's time that you start getting returns. Like that's all that's happening is you're starting to get returns on the work that you've put in for so long that you didn't get anything on. Yeah. So if you feel like that and your friend is getting like all the opportunities, your turn is definitely coming. It just might take some extra time.
That's right. That's exactly right. And another thing I like on this slide is about fixing each other's crowns and tells no one. And that kind of connects also with the non-judgmental is, again, the kind of friendship we have, the kind of romance. And I mentioned the example of, I kind of was like, about this person and whatever. Sometimes that friend will set you straight. It is so great when you have a tribe and you've got people in your corner who, you can trust to be upfront and straight and honest with you. They're not just going to be an amen person. They're going to be like, where are you coming from? Let's wait. I think you're looking at it from the wrong angle. Let me help you here. Let's guide you here, whatever. That kind of friend that will set you straight, but guess what? They don't have to go and tell anyone else they set you straight. They don't have to brag about it. They will fix your crown and they will be like, hey, queen, hey, king, let me help you here. Let me help you get back on the right path. And you know that that's just between the two of y'all. You know that you're not going to go back and everyone else has heard about it, that you came out of left field with something, with some perspective, and your friend had to kind of help you get back on the right path. No, they will fix your crown. They will help you, with your perspectives. Because sometimes we all have those days where, man, sometimes your perspective can be all over the place. You're just having a bad day, whatever. You had a long 12-hour day. It would be those days where you're just sitting there and you're just like, maybe I'm just done with this career. Because you had a long day, you didn't get enough sleep or whatever. Now you're speaking crazy to your friend. True Grow-mance is that you support your people even through that craziness and stuff. And again, when I've come through it, that long day, if Juliet's come through that long day and now she's like, okay, my head's back on and everything, again, that's just between us. That's just between us. No one else has to hear about how we help each other. There's things that I may reveal and, what, she helped set me straight on this. And there's times where she may reveal something like that. But otherwise, true support sometimes looks like covering up for each other and defending each other and letting your friend work stuff out in private without having to include a crowd into it. And then if they want to come out and disclose stuff and be like, hey, Let me talk about my journey. Let me talk about what I came through. You're there for them. But there's going to be things that's going to happen in private, and it needs to stay in private. That's a true Grow-mance. That's a true Grow-mance, because we all have those moments where we've got to grow in our mindset. We've got to come through something. We got to grow our perspective. And it sometimes is those low moments that if other people knew of it, yeah, they might not think of us in the same way. But you know, that person in your life that is that other half of that Grow-mance with you can see you get through it, help you get through it, and they're not judging. They're not judging, and they're not going to tell anybody about it. And so when you get through it, you're like, yeah, that's my person. That is the person that's truly in my corner.
Damn, you got me my feels right now. Before I talk about being cheerleader and hype woman, I just like to thank you, Sam, because this year, if you look at my social media, it looks like I've just had this insane year of awesomeness. I was keynote for this conference. I spoke at Joe Cierio's leadership training. I got a new job. I became a head of a department, like the whole shebang. But there were so many times this year where Sam had to fix my crown. And there were so many times this year where she did have to lift me up and be like, remember who the F you are. And I just wanted to address that really quick, because it really does. The fact that she didn't tell anybody and you guys wouldn't know unless I said that right now, just shows truly supporting each other's journey and her truly supporting me. So thank you, Samantha.
Yes, girl.
And by the way, guys, she had no idea that was coming. I didn't even know that was coming until she started talking. And then I was like, I'm in my feels. Anyway, being each other's biggest cheerleader or hype woman. This is super important. Sometimes it feels like, especially as women, sometimes it feels like there's not a single other female in our immediate surrounding that wants what's truly best for us. And knowing that you have that person that you can go to and they will hype you up. Like, before I speak, if I'm nervous, I call Samantha. If I have a job interview and I need somebody to hype me up before the interview, I call Samantha. If I am going on a first date, I call Samantha. You just that genuine hype person and biggest cheerleader is so important to have in your corner, because you know that they're always going to be a rock for you. And having that real rock cornerstone gives you the confidence to go out there and do something scary. Because I know at the end of the day, no matter what scary thing I do, no matter how it turns out, I can call Sam. She's literally, I call her all the time, my favorite Samantha, because I just call her all the time. But because I know she will be my biggest cheerleader. She won't show jealousy. She won't tell anybody after she fixes my crown. She's non-judgmental, and she knows if I do something cool, she's also going to do something cool at some point in her life.
And now I've got to add, before we go to the next slide quickly, I post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, so I mean, I'm sure it was, you may not remember for those who follow me on LinkedIn because it's been a minute, but when I first started this job, as a gypsy dispatcher and traveling, it's so crazy because, again, the whole thing about cheerleading, right? And that person that hypes you up in your corner. We didn't really know how it was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to go or anything. But it's, Juliet, she was still like, how is this going to go? How is this even going to work out? But she went and bought me this pocket coin. And I probably got a post about it on LinkedIn sometimes soon again. Bought me this pocket coin that I carry with me every single wherever I go, whether it's a conference, whether it's on assignment, I just keep it. It's like my coin, and it's like a little pocket of love, and it's just like a reminder to me every time I look at it. It literally has on the back of like, remember who you are, remember who you are, remember why you're doing this. And the thing is, again, so this wasn't into my adventures of when everything's like good and I'm like, I'm doing this. This was before, when I was at my most nervous, when I had folks who were either like supportive of me, people who are unsure of like, are you sure you know what you're doing, like leaving, your steady, job in the center to do this traveling dispatch thing. This was before all of that. She did this not out of confidence in that I just believe this is what you're supposed to do. She did this out of her belief in me. And that is, to me, the fact of if cheerleading is that person that believes in you, even when you're at your most uncertain. She bought me that coin of like, here, this is what you're doing. This is your new life. Here's something to just say, heck, I support you on this. I don't know where it's going to take you, where it's going to lead to. I don't have to be confident in this new adventure in your life, but I'm confident in you. And that to me is like part of why she is my, my biggest cheerleader friend, the biggest friend in my life, who is also like my hype person. So, yeah.
I will say, as a quick note, when she did start traveling dispatch, I stalked her. I stalked her location so hard for the first like 4 trips that she made, because I was like, you don't know these people that you travel with. Like, what are you going to do? And now, like, I find myself also being in Sam's position. But your friends will stalk you. Moral of the story. Full disclosure, really quick. This picture, I'd like to talk about this picture. So first off, 0 alcohol was involved in this picture. I feel like that's important to note, because it looks like we could be a little tipsy. 0 alcohol was involved.
Yes.
I was dancing with cups of water, trying to make Sam drink them. We were in Florida.
Trying to peer pressure me into drinking water.
We were in Florida in August, and the day before, she kept saying that she didn't want a bottle of water. I don't want a bottle of water, Julie. Don't make me drink that bottle of water. I don't want a bottle of water. And I was like, Sam, just hold it. Just hold this bottle of water. You haven't had enough water today. She's like, okay. So she holds it. She cracks it open. She takes a sip, chugs the entire bottle.
Oh my
the entire bottle of water, gone, like that. So don't tell me that you don't need water.
You just took this opportunity, I just feel, in the presentation to be like, first of all, that was her way of reminding me to drink water tonight before I end my night.
Yeah.
And second of all, that was her way of just being like, yeah, yes, you're right. Okay, you're right.
That's the only time I try to fix Sam's problems, is her problem of dehydration. The only one.
That's a problem. That is a real problem, though. I love that. Yeah, power of vulnerability. And I feel like we kind of already touched on it without touching on it, but there is a vulnerability as well, and that's not something to run away from. For those who are watching this, who are fans of Brene Brown, she talks about that all the time. I mean, that's there's a power in it. There's a power from it. And to me, again, the Grow-mance and that having that kind of relationship, having that kind of friendship, is that you can be vulnerable with each other. Is the fact that you're that friend, that person in your corner. Juliet doesn't just know me when I'm riding that wave, when I'm on it. I am doing the thing and everything is great. She has seen me also when it's like I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, what do I do? I'm uncertain. I'm nervous. I'm whatever. And she's seen me having to push through it, and has pushed me through it and helped push me through it. But she's still seen that side of me. I think one of the things to consider when you start to really consider it, through this presentation, like, hey, is there someone in my life that basically I have a Grow-mance with? Is there someone in my life that I maybe don't have it, but I can develop a Grow-mance with? One of those things is, who are those people that you can be vulnerable with? And I think that that's a big question to ask, because right off the bat, if there's those folks that you're like, I'm afraid to show that side of myself, why are you afraid? Or are you afraid because you're judging yourself? Doesn't mean they judge you. Could be that's just you, being self-conscious. Or it may be, I'm afraid to show that side because I do think they'll judge me, because they'll call me weak. They'll think I'm a coward. They won't have that belief in me if I show that side. And so to me, a big building block is the fact that we have seen that side of each other. Both of us have seen each other at our lowest and be vulnerable with each other, and know that we're not going to judge each other for that.
Absolutely. And friendship is an investment on both ends. If it was only a one-way street, this friendship wouldn't work. It wouldn't last. It's not sustainable. Like any relationship, romantic or not, friendship, whatever, you really get out what you put into it. So Sam and I choose to continue to put work into our friendship, and I continue to bully her to Snapchat me back every day for 701 days in order for this to work. If you don't know Sam, she does have a habit of forgetting her phone exists, but I don't let her forget that, because she needs to continue our snap streak.
Yes, she will not let me go ghost, and I am one of those people. I definitely go ghost, not because I don't love the other person, don't care about the other person anymore. I just will, like, that. It's like that time blindness, lose track of time, lose track of stuff. It's not directly in front of me. So, and the fact is, she won't let me go ghost. First of all, she won't judge me when I do go ghost, but she's gonna be like, hello, hey Sam, snap me back. And yeah, it's true. And and here's the thing, another thing about the Grow-mance is, you've always got to be assessing it. Just like we always have to assess ourselves, assess your friendships from year to year. There's no, I don't believe in like friendships that you're just grandfathered in and it's just forever and ever. Meanwhile, it's like, is it really growing? Because every friendship should grow. If the friendship is just based off of these mutual things we had in common from a decade ago, and it's not really, or from 5 years ago, and there's not any growth on both of our end, like mutual growth as friends or mutual development as friends, then you've got to ask yourself, like, okay, why are we still doing this? Just like with any kind of relationship, any kind of friendship. But again, remember, next level, right? You may have that person who, yeah, they're a friend. Yeah, we're friendly to each other, whatever. But a Grow-mance is, we're always assessing it, because there's got to be some kind of growth. There's got to be we're moving forward. Not that it just looks, it doesn't, our friendship, our Grow-mance that Juliet and I have doesn't look the same from when it started. It started, and we can look back there and we can see, here is it, up, down, hills, valleys. It's not the same. We have both grown through it individually, but we've grown through it together. It's not the same look that it had when it first started. If it did, that's when you assess it. Maybe we could just be friends. Okay, cool. But is it really a Grow-mance? But the fact is, our relationship, our friendship has grown. It has grown through being vulnerable with each other, through the fact that we can be upfront and honest with each other, through the fact that we can share things with each other. So we can assess it, and we should continue to assess it. In 2025, we would still look at it and be like, hey, but in 2024, I can look and be like, it's not the same friendship we had in 2023. It's a stronger friendship in 2024, the end of 2024, than we had at the end of 2023. And that is a big part of a good Grow-mance.
I think in 2025, I'm going to call it quits, Sam.
Nah, not allowed.
No. So also, with true friendship, you want to sit with them in the mud, as it's called, and Simon Sinek describes this better than either of us could.
But I have a rule with all of my friends, which is there's no crying alone.
No crying alone.
No crying
Right.
alone.
Okay.
That if you are in a state where that level of emotion, if you start talking about something that you know tears are going to follow, you immediately pick up the phone and call me or somebody else. And there's no crying alone. It's just not allowed. And the willingness to allow someone to sit in mud with you is what it is to be human. I think it is the greatest honor. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, which is, when our friends are struggling, our instinct is to rescue them, to pull them out of the mud, to fix. And if you're the one sitting in the mud when somebody attempts to fix, even if it's well-intentioned, it is a horrible feeling. Just don't do that. You're making it worse. And what true friendship is not the desire to fix or pull the friend out of the mud who you really want to see out of the mud, but it's your willingness to sit in the mud with them, to get in the mud and turn to them and say, this sucks. And it's not fun being in the mud with them. You don't want to get in the mud with them, but you choose to get in the mud with them until they're ready to say, can we get out now? But you sit there with them. And that's a friend of mine who is one of those folks. I hadn't talked to him in a while. And I called him up and be like, what are you up to? I haven't talked to him in a while. And he opened up, and it was intense. And I was like, why didn't you call me? He's like, I didn't want to bother you. And the way we ended the phone call is I didn't say, I'm always here, I'll be here. I took my go on sort of mentality. And the way we ended the phone call is like, listen, and he's depressed and he's in a bad place. The way we ended the phone call is I said, listen, don't be an asshole and deny me the honor of being there for you. Like, you have no right to deny me. Very teary day today.
So that is Simon Sinek on true friendship. And I don't know, that really kind of resonates with me and with us, especially with this past year of craziness together. Just don't let your friends sit in the mud alone, and don't necessarily try to pull them out. Just sit with them.
Yeah.
You have anything to add, Sam?
No, I don't.
I have a rule with all of my friends.
Every time I watch that video, it just and it really does resonate, because we've had some mud spots through the year. You remember Chick in January of this year when we were like, this is our year. And that's not saying it wasn't our year. It was our year in a lot of things, but we had some mud through this year. We
had a lot of mud.
True fact. True fact.
These pictures are Sam and I playing with a rainbow keyboard, like computer keyboard. I actually still use it. Like it's right here.
Love that.
And it had it has 26 different settings on it of like when you push a button, it like goes out and everything. And Sam and I were mesmerized.
We were dying laughing. It was the coolest thing. Like, we're just like,
it was the dumbest thing.
So, yeah.
Again, no alcohol was involved.
No alcohol. When we talk about like Juliet said, we are an odd couple. The weird, we don't need alcohol. We're just weird. We're naturally weird together, and so
yeah.
We have fun, and and like it, the gossip free zone is we talk a lot. We talk all the time, Let's be clear. I see memes and reels, and it's the thing about like the friends and like they around the water fountain they gossip. That has nothing to do with a real romance, a real friendship. Don't have to be gossiping about each other. Being close, us growing together, us being vulnerable with each other, sharing our perspectives with each other has nothing to do with tearing other people down. We can hype each other up. We can celebrate each other's successes. We can even be real with each other. Has nothing to do with disrespecting other people. It doesn't matter that it's behind closed doors. We still speak respectfully of each other. Speak respectfully, yes, of each other, but of other people. It's not built on gossip. That has nothing to do. Don't think that like being good friends has to mean like you can gossip with that person behind closed doors. And nothing about that. We celebrate each other's success. And here's the thing: if your conversations has to be filled with gossip, then doing something wrong. Because if y'all got nothing else to build a good Grow-mance off of, you're doing something wrong. So it has nothing to do with tearing other people down.
Level up your game.
Level up, yes.
Also, you want to hype your Grow-mance friend up even when they're not around to other people.
Yep.
So pretty much anytime I talk about anything, I find myself saying, and my best friend, Sam Hawkins. But just kind of hyping each other up and promoting each other and showing the world what the other person has to give as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Suggest them for opportunities. So, say, for example, there's something that Sam gets offered that isn't really for her, that she doesn't really want to do or have the time to do. She might say, I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't have time for this, but you should call Juliet. Or vice versa. Like, I don't really have the time for this, or yes, this isn't my expertise, but call Sam Hawkins because she has all the details. And really just kind of like promote the other person consistently and suggest them for opportunities as best you can.
Valid. And the last thing I have to say to kind of wrap up that slide, just ties it all together, is that just remembering that, in a true Grow-mance, you can share the spotlight with that person without you feeling like it's dimming your own light. You can share the spotlight with them. You can give a presentation, and the fact that, yes, Juliet can give a presentation and mention me. I can give a presentation and I'll mention my best friend Juliet, not dimming my light. It's not taking away from me to mention, hey, this is something I've learned from her. True Grow-mance, again, there's no jealousy or anything. We can hype each other up, and we can do it unapologetically,
Absolutely. Just some final food for thought. We touched on this pretty much all throughout, but what are the Grow-mances in your life?
Yes.
Or do you have friendships that you could potentially cultivate into a Grow-mance? And what exactly does that look like? Also, ours kind of happened naturally. I don't know how necessarily you'd start a conversation with somebody, but if you're going to like have a Grow-mance type relationship with somebody, you do have to make sure that all of these things align and that you are able to have a lot of these conversations.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Again, and the communication is key about, I would hope that the Grow-mance that we have, which I have no doubt, any way I can continue to improve on my end of this friendship, of this Grow-mance, Juliet can be like, hey, whatever, and can communicate that. And same thing. Any way that Juliet can improve on her end of this Grow-mance, that I can be able to communicate with her. How can we better cherish each other, show each other our gratitude, not just I'm going to show it to you in the way I want. There may be a way that, yes, reaches me, but showing gratitude to Juliet might look a little differently. It's the same way you don't necessarily give each other the same gifts, right? Christmas come, you give someone the thing that's going to be meaningful to them. They're going to give you what's meaningful to you. So same thing, showing each other, hey, I love you. Hey, I'm grateful for you. Doesn't have to look the same. It's not because doing it the same way won't reach us, emotionally in the same way. So you do it in the way that's meaningful to each other.
It's kind of like understanding each other's love language without on like a romantic level.
Exactly.
Because love language is more than just a romantic level. You can show people love, as you and I have shown each other love, without it being necessarily romantically involved. But that doesn't mean that the love language situation doesn't necessarily apply here.
Exactly right.
And with that,
follow us on LinkedIn.
Yes. Follow us on LinkedIn. I really just love this quote that I feel like fits Sam and I so well. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Because you will make it so much farther with a good person by your side that is pushing you and guiding you and kind of helping you keep on the path to success. And you can bounce ideas off and shenanigans. You always need somebody to bounce shenanigans off of.
Always. Thank y'all for joining us. This has been amazing. And again, if you have a Grow-mance, awesome. If there's someone out there that you want that, hope this presentation helps you with that. And thank you to my friend Juliet for the Grow-mance that we have. Love you, girl.
Thank you, Samantha.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.